students, I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Abhijit. I am teaching as assistant professor at NIT Pharmacy Institute. So, we are learning about quality assurance, and I hope all of you have seen my previous lectures. Today, this is the 13th lecture, and we are going to learn more about quality assurance. So, I am going to tell you about on today's lecture about the equipments, how equipments are actually important in our activities, that is production or quality control activities, how you will select the correct equipments and what are the necessary documents actually required. Okay. So, these are the things we are going to learn. So, let me tell you about the definition of an equipment. So, equipment may be defined as any piece of plant, machinery or instrument etc., which is used for carrying out a specific activity or program. Let me take the felt pen, which is actually used to carrying out specific activity or operation program. For example, mixer, dryer, HPLC, all the things we can call it as an equipment. Equipment can be single piece or it may consist of a set of integrated pieces to perform common activity. For example, like water purification plant. In water purification plant, you will be observing a lots of multiple activities actually happening for the purification of the water. Okay. So, now the question is how you will select a good equipment. So, while selecting the equipments, following points should be considered. What are the points? First is the design, then the size, then the location, construction also. So, these things should be considered. Why it is important? Because it depends what kind of activities are actually doing. For example, your pharma company is actually producing only the multivitamins or nutraceuticals related product. So, only for that activities, only for such kind of activities like tablet production you are actually doing. You are not doing any, you are actually not manufacturing any sterile product. So, you have to design based on your design or based on the activity you will be selecting. Its size also important. If your batch size is very high, then this size should be also very big. Location, construction, you should be taken care. Then, if I tell you more, now let me tell you one by one. So, design. So, design of the equipment should meet the user requirement for which the equipment actually selected. For this purposes, user requirement that is called URS actually prepared. URS will vary from equipment to equipment, but this should also answer the following question. What are the questions? The first question is the which kind of operation we are going to perform, that is for example, whatever I was telling you, for example, antibiotic, or you are producing some only multivitamins, or you are actually producing those things in a tablet form. Okay. So, what kind of operation we are going to perform? Then what capacity should be should it have in terms of holding output? For example, how much you are actually producing tablet? For example, 3 million tablets per day, 3 million tablets per day you are actually producing, and which materials are we going to use for this equipment, and do they have any interaction with the material actually constructed. If you are producing some jelly like substance, if your product is actually that is going to adhere with your equipment with the jelly like substance, it will be a big problem. So, you have to ensure, you have to ask these questions, and then how will this equipment will be cleaned. Also, if I tell you more questions during the equipment selection regarding design aspect, what are the things I am going to ask, then you have to also see that we are going to face any problem in validating and cleaning of the operation. Then also, do we have trained operators to operate this equipment? I do not want to name, there are lots of MSMEs in our country, they actually facing the issue with the lack of qualified operators. They do not have any qualified operators, that is why they are not actually using various highly sophisticated instruments, highly sophisticated equipments. Okay, when our drug inspectors are visiting, that why you are not doing HPLC or other GCMS, LCMS related activities, why you are not that is maintaining the quality with passing your substance by HPLC, GCMS, LCMS. The answer they are actually giving those MSMEs companies that sir, we do not have operators to operate this machine. That is why you are doing your B.Pharm or your master or any kinds of other courses. So, you have to ensure, you have to understand this practical problem that our country, our pharma industry is facing today. Then what will be the starting point and what will the stop time of the equipment, will the maintenance of this equipment cause any contamination, or what is the level of technology actually used. You might have seen the first generation, second generation, third generation equipment, what kind of generation actually using. Now, after learning about this very questions associated with the design, this 9 question associated with the design, let me tell you about the size, how size will be create a big impact during the equipment selection. Size of the equipment is decided based on the volume of materials, what kind of material actually, how much volume you have, we are going to handle batch size, and also directly related to the size of the preparation that is a processing equipment. In case the size of equipment, following things should be considered. What are the things? Yeah, physical dimension of the machinery, physical dimension, length, weight and breadth. Then also size of the room in which the machine is going to be installed. Also holding and output capacity of the equipment, how much it is giving the output. And then another question, minimum and maximum volume of the material we are going to handle, and whether the equipment is actually able to produce those minimum and maximum volume. See, during COVID pandemic time, we have seen our pharma industries, they faced huge challenges. Why? Because of the pressure to create high volume of various pharmaceutical products like dexamethasone or like remdesivir. If you talk with those that is a chemist, those are working in those pharma companies during the pandemic, they will tell you their production capacity was increased. They were pressurized to create more and more product just to fight against this COVID. Okay. So, that is why we have to select such equipments which can handle the maximum values, maximum volumes. Then after learning the size and also after learning the design, now let me take to you about the location, the third point. So, the decision of locating the equipment in the material in the plant depends upon the logical process movement. Following factors are actually considered. What are the factors? Utility services required, potential danger of contamination and mix up, also the material handling and movement, movement of processing and cleaning, and man movement for the repair and maintenance. These are the very valid points you have to take care during the finalize the location of the equipment. So, if you put your equipment in such a area where based on location, based on these questions are not fulfilled, then it will be create a big problem in your activities. Then construction, what are the construction related points? So, these are the few points are actually related to the construction. First, the ease of cleaning of the equipment and the storage area and its surrounding area. Ease of cleaning, you see, if you produce some tablet, capsule or other things, after completing of your batch, if you do not able to clean it, then there are chances the residues will remain on this particular equipment. For example, I am take example of the compression machine. Compression machine. If compression machine you have produced some tablets on today, for example, 1 million tablet you have produced. After that you have to clean, If any residue of those tablets are actually residing in that particular compression machine, then what will happen? When the next batch you are going to start of a different product, of a different tablet, then that particular tablet will be get contaminated with those residues, and yes, there will be some interaction, and due to that there are chances your product will be getting degrade, or it may alter its formulation, or it might be not showing proper therapeutic activity. That is why cleaning is very much important, and your product should be follow the ease of cleaning and ease of operation of the equipment. It should be very easily operatable. and ease of maintenance of the equipment. You see, sometimes you will be observing that there are some issues actually arising from the equipment. You cannot handle this equipment in a correct manner, because that equipment might be showing some issues like it due to the power cut or due to the shortage of the necessary accessories. At that scenario, some maintenance people will be there, they will do the maintenance activity. So, it should be easy of maintenance activity, and yes, the material of construction, this thing called MOC. So, to do after following our all such 4 points, that is size, location and your construction and other things. Now, let me tell you what are the documents actually required with the equipment. I hope this word is so much similar with you people, SOP, because in your college or universities or in your laboratory, maximum of the time your teacher might be telling you SOP, 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 prepare the SOP and put on the wall, prepare the SOP and put associated with your machine, है ना, standard operating procedure. So, SOP including various manuals or machine manuals are actually required. If you are going to purchase a new compression machine, you should have these things. Then machine equipment layout, drawing showing the position of the equipment of the room, and also the equipment validation report. The equipment should be properly validated. Okay. After validation, there will be one report, including during the validation, how validation was done, everything should be documented. Those things should be there, so that you can take those things for your activities. Now, purchase specification of the equipments. You have ultimately, after following the previous parameters, you have selected one particular equipment. Now, what should be the purchase specification? These are the few specification. For example, operating criteria are adequate for the process, for example, size, speed, effectiveness and availability of the spares and serving. Then the ease of maintenance, whatever I have already mentioned, and cleaning, environmental issues, equipment dismantling the dust may cause contamination, or other products should be being manufactured or equipment producing noise. Then also construction material, that is material used for the construction of the equipment, should be not reactive with the API. I have given the example of jelly just few minutes back. Whatever the product you are actually producing, that product should not be yet contaminated with the API or raw materials or the products which are actually getting manufactured. The availability of the process control, for example, automatic weight adjustment and other things should not be should be available, and cost of the equipment very important. See, if you are going to work in a pharma company, if you visit lots of various seminars, conferences and expos, those areas will be observing the new machines, new that is equipments. When you see that the equipment newly developed, it is much more better than the equipment present in your company. What you will do? You will automatically tell to your boss, to the owner of your company, that sir, why not purchase this thing, this is giving the better productivity. So, your boss will be ready after listening its features, but the issue will be actually coming here, the cost of the equipment. Do you know, till the date we have completely failed to solve lots of basic fundamental questions, like that how to simulate the entire human body, how can we be able to simulate the formulation in human GIT. We have failed to develop such kind of HPC, that is called high performance computing, which have enough capacity to simulate such kind of high macromolecules. Okay, today whatever the things we can do at least in microsecond or nanosecond or picosecond. Some of the supercomputers actually available in this world which can give you higher microseconds, but at second, for 1 second there are no any present this supercomputer actually capable. with to do 1 second simulation within just 1 day. It will take few days. So, that is why it is actually not possible, because the advanced technologies are very costly. The advanced technologies are very costly, that is why lots of time we are facing such issues. Now, after learning, let me tell you some other points like the availability of SOPs, design, maintenance of the manuals from the supplier with equipments. Those are actually important for the operating, handling, validation and qualification. You see, right now in 21st century, those companies or those organizations actually giving you the equipments, I am very much happy with them, because all of them having their YouTube channel, and they are actually providing all the manuals and all the things are actually in their YouTube channel, how to handling. You can also see the handling in their YouTube channel. This is the best thing. Due to that, any young pharmacist like you can learn how to handle compression machine. If you just write on YouTube search box compression machine with a particular company name, with a dealer name, automatically you will giving lots of videos how to handle this machine. So, in 21st century, this process, due to advancement of our YouTube and other things, this process become very much easier. So, that is why the availability of SOP, design, maintenance manuals from the supplier with the equipments, those are important for the operating, handling and validation and qualification. So, but yes, in some of the cases those companies are actually trying to hide their entire procedure. They do not want to share how the process actually happening. They actually do not interested to that is bring their handling operation and other things on public platform like YouTube. Okay, they actually developed their own platform, and on those platform you will be able to see. I do not want to name any of these such companies, but you will be observing those top companies are actually doing their separate portal. If you want to download some video, you will have to visit the separate portal. Now, the equipment should not be used for commercial production until it is qualified and validated for the purpose. Till now, whatever I am actually telling you, you have to select one equipment, you have to do all those questions related to size, its cost and other things. Now, if you select, if you are getting all those things, ultimately that equipment should not be ready for the commercial use until and unless it is qualified and validated for the purposes. Validation is closely and highly related with the quality assurance chemist. Quality assurance chemists are actually doing maximum time validation in the pharma companies. So, validation is important. I hope all of you already have studied what is validation and calibration. I hope you know the differences between both the things. So, after validation and after qualified, it will be ready for the use. So, let me before ending my this entire talk, let me also inform you that you see, when you will go to the industry, at first you will be, let me remove the ink, at first you will be getting the training. At first you will be getting the training. During training you will be observing you will be observing that how to handle particular one equipment, how to maintain the record of that operation, and you will be also getting the SOPs. But if you are very young, you are listening this lecture in your young days, I will suggest that before joining any pharma company, you may try to see in public platform like YouTube, whether that company having some equipment and they are actually releasing some videos on YouTube or not. If it is present, then you may watch this video, because this will help you a lot during your activity. You will be able to understand the things very easily during training. Okay. So, after training, if your pharma company purchasing a new equipment, at that time what will happen? At that time you will be also able to get a separate training. This time will be the training will be given by the company from where we are actually purchasing. For example, you have a company called A and this A pharma company is purchasing some compression machine from company X, and here I am writing as I is U as a production chemist. So, the compression machine what they are actually going to install in this company, they will be give proper training for that. Okay. So, ultimately this is how our entire process is actually working, but yes, another thing actually called calibration. You see, you might have got all those things, SOPs and other things, but during every day before starting your batch you have to do calibration. But yes, in all the equipments we are not doing, especially for the wing balance and other things we are doing some calibration process. So, the calibration and validation for these two activities, it should not take so much time. We have seen with my personal experience, I am telling you, sometimes I have spent a huge time on calibration and validation. It is a big issue and it was impacted on our manufacturing process. So, these are the things which are actually associated with our equipments. I hope today you have enjoyed my session. So, what are the things today we have learned? We have learned about the definition of equipments, how you can select an equipments, what are the documents are actually required, and purchase specification of the equipments. These are the things today we have learned. I hope you are much more encouraged to do work in industry after learning this lecture. Next lecture, I will tell you more about these things. I will tell you the maintenance of your equipment, how we will do the maintenance activity, definition of the raw material, purchasing specification of the raw material, labeling of the material in the storage area, and maintenance of the store for the raw materials. So, these things we are going to learn in our next lecture. So, thank you all of you, many thanks for listening me very patiently. I hope you got enough knowledge to boost up your understanding in quality assurance. So, thank you all of you, God bless, best of luck.